Monday after the Super Bowl, it's Mr. Irrelevant. I'm Alex Strouf with you from the Everlight Solar Studio in downtown Madison, Wisconsin. As always, joined by my buddy, producer Tiny Hands, the great Hunter Vaughn, with me as well. Super Chef Hunter Vaughn, bringing in all the goodies for the office today. We had Taylor Swift-themed cupcakes. We had a little homemade barbecue wings, which I had one before the show. Very good, Hunter. Pat on the back to you. How did I not know this about you? Super chef, super baker. I'm impressed by you.
Well, I didn't do the baking. We had red velvet cupcakes because...
Which were delicious, by the way.
Yeah. Well, and they were also gluten-free for me. My wife made those.
Wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
So we did Kansas City barbecue wings.
Yeah, that was really tasty.
We also had Taylor Tots.
Excuse me?
Taylor Tots.
Okay.
Taylor
so
Swift.
they were just tater tots?
Yeah, they were just tater tots. We just called them Taylor Tots.
Did you do anything special with it? Like, did you put a little, because she has blonde hair, like, did you throw a little melted cheddar cheese on it and call it Taylor?
No.
This is stupid.
It was just playing.
I don't
off
like
of
that
it.
one. I don't like that
Oh,
one.
okay. We had a game ball. It was cheese ball because I like pimento cheese.
I also like pimento cheese.
My wife made a football-shaped cheese ball and then put gluten-free pretzels on it to give it the brown look.
I just have the image in my head right now, Hunter, of so like the hardos on Twitter that are like, oh, they show Taylor Swift too much. I feel like those same hardos are going to come into the YouTube comment section and be like, why is everything gluten-free at your house? So, anyway.
Well, because I don't like to have diarrhea. That's why.
Okay,
hardos.
that's horrible. All right, we are not even 2 minutes into the show, and diarrhea has already been dropped on this show. I haven't even mentioned the final score of the Super Bowl yet, and you're already talking about poop. Thanks, Hunter.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
The hardos are going to have to get over it. Don't ask questions that you don't want answers to.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Second ever overtime Super Bowl game is the Kansas City Chiefs are the first team in 19 years to go back-to-back, 25-22, over San Francisco in overtime. And I got to be honest with you, I was confused as hell with the overtime rules, and so was Kyle Shanahan very clearly. Now, I know they changed them after the Buffalo Bills had that unfortunate loss a couple of years back, but I didn't realize the mindset of, hey, you should get the ball second, right? Because the Chiefs after the game said had San Francisco scored a touchdown, kicked the extra point, they would have gone for two, right, to win the game. If they got the ball, they wanted to win the game. So it worked out in Andy Reid's favor, in the Kansas City Chiefs' favor. They win their second straight Super Bowl, third in this regime with Andy Reid at the helm, Patrick Mahomes under center. It completely solidifies the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs are a dynasty. And, I said last week, I'm a little bit jealous, right? Like, I am spoiled as a Green Bay Packers fan. At 25 years old, all I know is great quarterback play, right? Favre, Rodgers, now into Love. And Love's second half of the season was some of the best quarterbacking I think we've ever seen, right? But in terms of consistency and not turning the ball over and some of the throws he made was just like really, really, really impressive. And I'm probably being exaggeratory when I say some of the best we've ever seen. But it was so damn impressive, the turnaround that Jordan Love had. And now you can assume that if he keeps this up, he will be the third in line of great quarterbacks for the Packers. But I don't know that we've ever truly felt so comfortable in the postseason like Chiefs fans can now, winning their third Super Bowl in the last couple of years, where you just can't pick against Mahomes. And I said that a ton last week, right? He's just the guy you can't pick against. And overtime, and really the second half, showed you exactly why, right? This was a team that was down 10-3 at halftime. They come out in the second half, score 16 points, and then ultimately score the game-winning touchdown on a throw to McCole Hardman. He did have a crucial interception at midfield, which I believe turned into points for San Francisco, but he's just a magician. I mean, it's unbelievable. You can give me all the commentary in the world that you want to about how the Chiefs' offense got worse, but I have trouble saying that because Mahomes is still getting better. He's won 3 Super Bowls in 6 years as a starter. He's never not been to an AFC Championship game as a starter. Everything he's done is so unbelievably impressive, and he did it again on the biggest stage last night. So, yeah, a little bit jealous that they have a guy you can't pick against. Because in the postseason, you could pick against Favre. And after 2010, Rodgers never got back, right? So you could pick, and it wasn't necessarily always his fault. It just, bad defenses, whatever the excuse is, you knew that the Packers weren't always the safe bet. Patrick Mahomes is always the safe bet. And for that, I'm jealous, but it is amazing to be a witness to what is history. right? Like I mentioned, they've solidified the fact that this is a total dynasty, which they have, right? There's no debating that at this point. And I loved it before the game. Patrick Mahomes was talking with, I don't remember who the reporter was for CBS, but he was asked, right, in your own words, if the Chiefs win on Sunday, blank. And he says, they're a dynasty. And we all know that. But to hear it from Patrick Mahomes' mouth was really cool. So 3 Super Bowls in 6 years as a starter for Patrick Mahomes. He's appeared in 4. He's won 3 of them. Terrific. It was a really fun game. Slow first half. Then Usher comes out. And then we get into the nitty-gritty, right? I mean, the second half was terrific. It's back and forth. You're wondering what they're going to do next. And then we go to overtime. And Shanahan takes the ball, not realizing this is not a regular season overtime game. Which I didn't realize either, but I'm also not the head coach of a team in the Super Bowl. Kyle Juszczyk, the fullback, who had a nice game, by the way, for San Francisco, says, yeah, I didn't really understand the rules. Uh-oh, that's probably not good. And the Chiefs were talking all about how they had run through this scenario. They know the overtime rules. So that's just an unfortunate way to end. But you know what is stupid? A stupid part of this rule is that the clock doesn't matter. I don't like that, right? So I'm in a bar by Lambeau Field last night with a buddy of mine. And I said to him, I'm like, there's 30 seconds on the clock. Why are they not using their timeouts? And he had known the rules. I don't get that. I don't understand why the clock doesn't matter in overtime. It's just like starting a brand new football game, right? So if the clock runs out, we just do another overtime quarter. That seems stupid to me. But nonetheless, Chiefs win it within that first overtime period. How funny would it have been, though, Hunter? Because there was, I think, a CBS chairman last week was speaking at all the media stuff in Vegas, and he made a joke about how this game's going to go to double overtime. We were like 10 seconds away from doing that. Everybody would have been like, wow, it's so rigged. It's so rigged.
You know he was praying that they won it there just to avoid that. And it still blows my mind. I've talked about it before, but I am fascinated by conspiracy theories, not because I believe in them, but no, just the idea of saying, oh, the NFL is rigged. Like, do people not understand the hundreds of thousands of people that would need to be in on it and somehow magically just keep silent about it? Like, it just blows my mind. That's all.
Do people actually think that? Do you think people actually believe professional sports are rigged, outside of course, the WWE?
There are people that think we faked the moon landing, and again, it would have taken hundreds of thousands of people to be silent about it. Like, nothing surprises me with the human race. So yes, I think people actually do.
You seem fired up today. Is everything all right? I feel like you should be in a great mood.
I am. I'm ready to go. I don't know what I'm not fired up. I'm just excited to be here.
Down conspiracy theories and how stupid they are. I love that.
I don't think they're stupid. I think they're fascinating. So I kind of read about them. I don't know.
Fair enough. All right, a couple other thoughts from the Super Bowl that may have been overshadowed, right? Like, I thought Mahomes was terrific. He was the leading rusher and obviously the leading passer for Kansas City in this game. 66 yards for him on the ground, including a couple of big ones, right? Like a third and long, and he's eluding pressure and able to get the first down. So I thought he came up big. Travis Kelce is absolutely phenomenal. If he's not the greatest tight end of all time, damn, is he close to the conversation. Right, like I'd probably still put Gronk above him just because I think pure dominance, Gronk wins that conversation. But if you get Travis Kelce in the open field, dude, watch out. And that is so fun to watch. He had that 22-yarder that was just like, that could turn into a touchdown. You know, he is so phenomenal in the open field.
My problem with Gronk being number one is that the best of ability is availability. Yeah. And he could not stay healthy.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
So that right there, like the fact that Travis Kelce has pretty much stayed healthy his whole career puts him, I think he's firmly number one now.
Firmly number one.
Yeah.
So no Tony Gonzalez, no Antonio Gates for longevity, who, by the way, got snubbed to the Hall of Fame
he did.
Late last week.
Those two were great, but I think the Travis Kelce and Gronk going ahead of them is because the level of game changers that they turn that position into.
Totally.
Gonzalez and Antonio Gates were just consistency, almost kind of the same way Jason Witten, you knew if it was third and medium for Tony Romo, you knew he's going to Jason Witten. It's the same thing with Tony Gonzalez and Antonio Gates, where, again, Kelce and Gronk, they completely flipped the field when they touched the ball, but Gronk was rarely ever on the field, and that's my problem with him.
Okay. I hear it. I hear it. And I'm cool with the argument or the discussion of Travis Kelce being the greatest of all time, and he was huge for them yesterday. 9 catches, 93 yards. Pacheco and Rice each had 6 catches, and that was second most on the Chiefs. So Travis Kelce, again, phenomenal. Hey, how about the Badger? Leo Chanel, 6 tackles, 1 for loss, a forced fumble, and a blocked field goal. I mean, what can we say about Wisconsin other than they know how to frickin' develop linebackers? I mean, Leo Chanel, amazing on the biggest stage last night. So got to be happy for the Wisconsin kid and the Badger alum. I was just kind of hoping he wrote death row on his arm in Sharpie marker like he did his final season at Wisconsin. He was so fun. Grit factory stuff. Chanel was awesome. I don't think it was quite MVP good, but I imagine he was in the conversation, right? A forced fumble and a blocked field goal. You win that game by 3 points. Do the math. So huge for Leo Chanel. It was awesome to see him shine. On the San Francisco side, how about Jawan Jennings? I mean, the guy, and obviously Packers fans got a closer look at him a couple of weeks ago when Deebo Samuel went out against the Packers in the divisional round. He shined in that game, right? Like he picked up the slack that Deebo left as he was eliminated from that game really early on. And then yesterday, he throws a touchdown pass. He catches a touchdown. Him and Nick Foles, the only 2 players in NFL history to ever do that. I mean, that's an incredible stat for Jawan Jennings, who stepped up big. 4 catches, 42 yards, and a touchdown, and then the 21-yard touchdown pass to Christian McCaffrey in the second quarter. You knew Kyle Shanahan was shaking a little bit, though, right? Like, trick plays in the Super Bowl, I think they're always risky. The one time where obviously it worked out really well is the aforementioned Nick Foles in the Philly special. San Francisco to score that first touchdown on a trick play, I was like, oh boy, I don't know how much they got in the tank here. And I didn't think this would be a high-scoring Super Bowl. How about Vegas, by the way? Over bettors had to be pissed off there's no extra point in overtime because it was a walk-off win. The over-under was 47.5. They scored 47 points with that touchdown. No extra point because it's overtime. Game's over. So I apologize to anybody that bet the over. But Jawan Jennings, terrific for San Francisco. Brock Purdy was dealing in the first half. I was really impressed by some of his early throws. And on that note, I would like to offer a formal apology to Brock Purdy. Like, I almost feel like this is my Shaquille O'Neal moment of, I'm sorry I wasn't familiar with your game. Although I am familiar with his game. I thought he was awesome in the first half and made some really difficult throws, really nice throws. He is a franchise quarterback, and I just don't think you can doubt that anymore. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he is a Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, Burrow type guy, but he's certainly in the top 12, maybe even the top 10. And I thought he made some really difficult throws yesterday that I was really impressed with. Didn't turn the ball over, was only sacked once. QB rating of 89, or excuse me, quarterback rating of 89.3, QBR of 69.8. Both below Jawan Jennings, who had a perfect rating of 158.3 on the 1-for-1 for 21 yards and a touchdown. So Purdy was good. He's a good quarterback, and I was really impressed by some of the throws he made. So I'm excited to see what happens with the San Francisco team. A lot of free agents, as does Kansas City, including Chris Jones, by the way. I am really intrigued to see what happens with the 49ers next year. Because I've called them before the gold standard of what it means to be a successful franchise in the NFC. Again, proving it this year with the 1 seed, having the best record, having the bye, coming back in 2 playoff games against Green Bay and Detroit in back-to-back weeks, and winning with late pushes. And then getting to the Super Bowl and taking the reigning Super Bowl champion all the way to overtime. I mean, really impressed by them. Really good football team. Tough way to end it. Not knowing the rules, though, you shoot yourself in the foot there. And they made their own bed. They have to lie in it. And Andy Reid gets a celebratory cheeseburger.
Yeah, this 49ers team, it's going to be interesting, the fact that Chris Canty brought this up this morning on Sportsmanlike while I was driving in.
Yeah.
The fact that Brock Purdy's contract is up after next season. Mm-hmm. So you have a bunch of guys that are going to become free agents either this year or next year for them. And, I mean, if Purdy next season gets them to the divisional round or, the NFC Championship game again, like, he's going to be getting the same amount of money, if not a little bit more, than Jordan Love will. And he's going to be in that $40 to $50 million range. You start paying a quarterback that much, who do you let go? Like, I think they got to let Deebo walk because he can't stay healthy now.
Yeah, he's not a free agent yet. I mean, the big ones to keep an eye on are Chase Young is a free agent, and I don't think they were very happy with what he did for them this year.
No.
Javon Kinlaw, one of their starting D tackles, is a free agent.
He's gone.
Randy Gregory, Cleveland Farrell, the former first-round pick, both defensive ends, both of them are free agents after this year. But other than that, I mean, none of them are too bad. Tayshaun Gibson, one of their starting safeties as well, is a free agent, but like Sam Darnold's on that list. Chris Conley's on that list. Like, you're not.
But then what about
much.
the following year? Do you have that?
I don't have it in front of me, no. But you're right. It does get a little bit more tricky for them. So, like, they'll be back next year. But I still think
they've got to get it done next year.
I don't think they're going to, because I think there's a team in the state of Wisconsin that's going to have something to say about that. And of course, I'm
probably
biased. But I watching that game yesterday, and this is just the way my brain works, right? Is like, okay, how far away are the Packers? They almost beat San Francisco and should have beaten San Francisco in the divisional round. And they beat, and again, February Kansas City is not early December Kansas City, but on December 3rd on Sunday Night Football at Lambeau Field, it was all Packers against the Chiefs in a big win. So it's clearly a team that can compete with the top dogs. I mean, they proved that to us down the stretch. They smoked Dallas, who a lot of people viewed as a favorite, and I see you're wearing, oh no, that's a Duke shirt. I thought that was a Big D Dallas shirt. I am so, what's the right word? I don't want to say intrigued, because I think I know the Packers are playoff good, but I want to know if they're championship good. And we've talked about it, we talked about it with Wilde on Friday. I hope, really hope, they get down to, signing a free agent or two, or, making a splash in the draft, whether that be at safety or inside linebacker or any of the in-betweens. I'm very, very, very interested to see what they do this offseason to gear up. Because I think, right, like if this postseason for the Packers taught us anything, it's that they are clearly in the group. Right, like if we're talking cliques of great teams in the NFL, obviously the Chiefs are there, the Niners are there, the Bills are there. I would think the Ravens are probably there again next year. The NFC, though, pretty open, right? Like, does Philly get back to what they were a year ago? Is Dallas ready to actually win a freaking playoff game with Mike McCarthy?
No.
Mike Zimmer, their new defensive coordinator, by the way, but they still have calls out to Rex Ryan, I read. Anyway, will Dallas get back there? I think in the West, right, like the Rams should always be in the conversation. I don't know how good they can be, but I think they can be good enough. Detroit, do they take a big backslide, or are they dominant again? I mean, the NFC's open, and I think the Packers have to be a front runner to be a favorite to win the NFC next year. So what they do this offseason will be very indicative of what next season brings, obviously. I'm intrigued with what they do with their early draft picks, but also I would love to see them make a splash in free agency. And after talking with Wilde on Friday, it sounds like they can free up a lot of money and make a big move in free agency if they want to. Now, that hasn't been Goody's MO during his tenure as the GM, but I don't know. I don't see why you don't go all in, right? I talked about it a few weeks ago when they made the D coordinator hire. Some of these staff changes makes it seem like home run swings, right? Like they're swinging for the fences. They should do the same in free agency. They should do the same in the draft and all the in-between. So we will see as the offseason continues. But my answer is I don't think the Packers are as far away as maybe we thought 2 months ago. The Super Bowl champions lost to the Packers 2 months ago. And the 49ers probably should have lost to the Packers. Unfortunately, it was a really big comeback win for them late, and the Packers pretty much just combusted down the stretch. They're not that far, which makes me so hyped up on the first day after the football season. Makes me so hyped up for what the potential of this team is going forward. I think it's high. I think they have a good opportunity. It's just a matter of if they seize it and make it happen in the postseason. All right, let's talk about this halftime show. Shall we? Let's talk about this thing. I was impressed. I was really oh wow. Okay, for those of you watching on the video stream, Hunter did not run, but he never does, which is fine. As the executive producer, you do what you want. But you didn't run by me that we were going to use the shirtless Usher picture in our graphic on the bottom.
He's a good-looking guy, so I figured, why not? He's better looking than either you or I.
So, well, that's not a very high bar.
No, I know. It's at the floor.
So
but
I mentioned I was in a bar near Lambeau Field, and there was a good women audience, right? I would say it's about a 50-50 split in terms of ratio men to women in this bar. You should have heard the audible gasps when Usher took his shirt off. Like, this place kind of erupted. Like, I also have another story to tell from there, but I'll get to that in a second. Usher, when his shirt came off, people freaked out. I would say, though, number one, guy can move. He can dance like an MFer, man. Like, he's got moves galore. The lip syncing really bugged me, though. There was a lot of it from him, particularly. Like, Alicia Keys wasn't lip syncing. Terrific, by the way. Great to see her. Great appearance by her. Little John, not lip syncing, and he was like on a dude's shoulders. That at that point was the highlight of the Super Bowl for me. When they turned to Little John in the crowd, and he's doing Turn Down for What, which ultimately turned into Yeah. And they brought out Luda, which I thought was terrific as well. Didn't expect a ludicrous appearance. Did everybody think Justin Bieber was going to show up? Do they even have a song together? Right? Like, I know that was the big rumor, but I don't know if they have a song together. Do they? Never Say Never, maybe?
They do. I can't remember what the name of it was. But,
okay.
Yeah, that
Very
was...
old.
Yeah, that was a big rumor, was that he was going, especially since he confirmed he was going to be at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but he's like rich and famous. Everybody rich and famous was at the Super Bowl in Vegas.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying that, like, he did confirm he was going to be there, and when you have a song with the person who's going to be doing the halftime show,
okay, that's fair.
It's pretty easy to make that assumption.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I'll give you that. So overall, I think it was a good halftime show. Like, not the best I've seen, but I was into it. I enjoyed it. And by the way, we talked about this on Friday. I was worried if I was going to be able to hear stuff in a bar. They cranked it for Usher. Cranked it. Like, I heard most of the commercials. That Dunkin' commercial, terrific. But the Usher halftime show, they cranked it. Like, blowing my ears off, Hunter. It was very loud, but it was very enjoyable.
Gets the people going.
It does indeed. I see what you did there. Good halftime show. The other thing from the bar scene. So MVS, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, the former Packer, had a big play, which then he had a bad play later where he kind of, ran. He caught it like 4 yards in front of the line of scrimmage and then ran it like 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage. But when MVS, Hunter, made a big play, I'm in a Green Bay bar. I figured there was a lot of Packers fans. I started cheering. I go, yeah, MVS. Everybody in the bar stared at me. Like, I don't know if MVS is the most hated former Packer of all time because, as my buddy Kyle, who I was with, always says, MVS giveth, MVS taketh, which he ultimately did in that game. Everybody looked at me like I was nuts when I cheered for a former Packer. I was very surprised by the reception, or the lack thereof, that MVS got in a Green Bay bar. So I was a little disappointed in that. Nobody wanted to cheer for MVS besides me, apparently. So.
I do find Packer fans at times just to be odd, like that. Like,
yeah, that was weird to me.
Yeah, it's a strange fan base at times.
It is.
I'm not trying to say that as being a negative or take a shot at Packer fans.
It sounded like a shot.
I know. I'm not trying to though, and that's the thing. I think Packer fans are a little weird. That's all.
Sounded like a shot.
It wasn't.
All right, our buddy Alex Gravatt joins us now in studio. You hear him and I on the Green Bay Every Day with Alex and Alex podcast. You can find that in the Green and Gold Fix podcast feed, wherever you get your podcast. We'll do a little bit more unpacking from the Super Bowl and that later today. But I just wanted to pull you in because I just wanted your takeaway from the Super Bowl. What'd you do? What was the scene? And what were your big takeaways from the game, the halftime show, the commercials, or anything in between?
So before we get to that, did you mention Oren Burks, another Packer?
Oh, yeah, former Packer.
That was the first time the Green Bay Packers got a reference during
That's
the
true.
game. And I
drafted by Green Bay. Yeah.
So that was exciting. No, I watched the game with a lot of people who aren't necessarily big football fans. It was a Taylor Swift-themed party.
So what did you wear to a Taylor Swift-themed party?
I bought new jeans. I was excited about that, so I wore my new jeans. And I wore a Wisconsin Badgers T-shirt to support Leo Chanel because,
I love you, but you are a ginormous dork.
Yeah.
I was pretty excited about my new jeans.
They're really comfy.
They look good?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. The girlfriend likes them?
Yeah. So this is actually kind of interesting. I've gone shopping with partners before, right? You do your thing.
As you do, yes.
She just joins me in the changing room.
There's a really easy layup joke to make there that I'm going to be mature. I'm going to take the high road.
I'm not
going to make the joke.
Yeah.
What do you know? I'm just kidding. But She joins. So does she critique the clothes you're trying on then, right on the spot? That actually seems helpful.
It's nice, yeah, because like usually, if you're shopping, you want a second opinion. At least I do.
I
Like
do
when
too,
I
yeah.
was a kid, I'd go out and like my mom would be waiting out in the general
Yeah, for
area,
sure.
and I'd be like, hey, what do you think? Like these jeans fit? What am I looking for? And it's nice because it kind of removes that like level of I have to leave. I just get to stay in there and like be my jeans. What do you think? And then she's like, it looks good, and she'll pinch my butt or something, and it's boom, done.
Hey,
Easy.
yo.
Whoa.
Yeah, so
That
new
took a turn.
jeans, new jeans Super Bowl.
Does your butt look good in these new jeans?
Yes, this was quote the best she's seen. So new jeans are good.
Caked up on Super Bowl Sunday.
Absolutely, no
Good
cake
for him.
at the party though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, good news is Hunter brought cupcakes.
I had one at 8:45 a.m.
That was the first thing I ate today. Was the red velvet cupcake that said, what did it say on there? Karma's the guy on the Chiefs. And
Yep.
It was like a little picture of Taylor Swift and It was very cute. It was very adorable. I
Again,
like that.
my wife. All I did
I'm
was
not
make
giving
wings.
you credit here.
No,
Yeah, I'm not giving you credit here. But anyway, all right. What else? So you were at a party with Taylor Swift fans.
It was Taylor Swift themed. But the thing that was really cool was like most of the people wouldn't like. They might have had a Super Bowl party. I know these people. They'll find any reason to get together and hang out. But they were really engaged as a whole. Like Tanner, the host's boyfriend, I guess the fiance, they live together. Whatever. He's a football fan.
Are they
right?
engaged or not?
Yeah, they are.
Okay, so fiance, yeah.
Because Catherine seemed to organize everything, and Tanner, he's there.
So Catherine is engaged to Tanner?
Yes.
Okay, got
and they
it.
live together. They've owned this house for a while. They host all the time. Anyway, I go over there, and everyone's really engaged. It was kind of fun to see, like, Catherine, who I know isn't a big football fan, but she's hooting and hollering, cheering. It's all we and us. Like she's all in. She is a Kansas City Chiefs fan. It's not just like, yes, she's there because of Taylor Swift and because, Travis Kelce, she's rooting for him the whole time. But they made bingo boards for all Taylor Swift themed things. So, if there was a Taylor Swift commercial, you'd put that off your bingo board. If they mentioned Tokyo because she was coming from Tokyo, that's off the bingo board.
Okay.
If Travis Kelce's scores, that's a bingo board. But then there were some football ones as well, sideline tantrum, layout catch,
There
things
was
like
a
that.
sideline tantrum that I have not talked about yet.
And there was a borderline diving catch that I thought should have counted, but it didn't. That's okay. I still won with bingo.
Speaking of winning, this guy won the office pool right here. 2 thumbs. This guy. 19 out of 25 questions correct.
There's a 3-way tie at 18.
Yeah. And you know why you guys probably at 18?
There was a bit that I had for this, and I've lost your quarter, but I know you have another quarter in your pocket.
I do. Did you pick tails on that?
I picked tails.
So if you would have listened to me, the bet I was most adamant about was heads. 2 bets I was most adamant about were heads on the coin toss.
Yeah.
Here's a quarter for you. And over on the anthem.
And it hit over.
I got the first 13 questions on the pool.
I know that I was like going through, and I was like, okay, right. Because I scored him. This was my idea to have an office pool,
Hey, Hunter.
25 prop bets.
Hunter.
Yeah.
I got the first 13 right. Whose favorite number is 13?
Taylor Swift's
What's Travis Kelce's number?
87.
What's 13 plus 87?
100.
How much money did I win?
100.
Yeah, baby.
You won $90.
I guess if we count my 10, though, it's 100.
We're counting against 100. I'll give you $10 just to make
All
it.
right, nice. Thank you.
Okay, there it is. Yeah, I was gonna say because your money is included. There was a heads and a tails during this Super Bowl.
Right, but the overtime coin toss doesn't count.
Yeah, I'm saying it does. We're tied. Wager it all on this coin flip.
No.
Oh.
It's going to be heads, though, so it's fine.
Oh, that was
It's
a
on the
terrible.
floor. It's tails.
Ah, tails never fails.
Unless it's heads.
Yeah,
Unless it's Super Bowl 58.
I heard tails never fails as a kid, and I stuck with it.
Dude,
and
that's what annoys me so much. And I'm usually not the rebellion or like I wasn't an only child, so I don't just decide to go against the grain, or a middle child and go against the grain. I just have always been a heads guy.
And the thing that's crazy is I didn't hear tails always fails for like a decade. I heard that in my like late teens, early 20s. I
I've
was like,
never heard
oh
that,
no.
period. Interesting. Okay, good stuff. What else from the Super Bowl? Halftime show, you enjoy it?
Yeah, I did. I think Usher's cool, and I think he did a great job. I think the backup dancers were fantastic. They were flying. Like
There was a lot of people part of that halftime show.
They opened it with a guy who's just doing a handstand. It's one-hand handstand
Yep.
on another man's head.
Could you do that?
Absolutely not.
Can you do a handstand period?
For a second, I don't have like the stability to stay up.
I don't either.
But yeah, no, that blew my mind. Outside of that, I think that Usher just isn't like Super Bowl music. Like, it didn't get me like amped up. However,
Okay.
my girlfriend may be a bigger fan of Alicia Keys than Taylor Swift, the two of the most important people in her life.
Oh, okay.
So Alicia Keys' super crazy, awesome
She was
piano.
great. She was great.
She was fantastic. The big cape was cool. Yeah, I don't know. I thought that it was fine, but I didn't think it was like a winner or a loser. I think it'll go down as like one of the most like medium, because it's a big deal to be on the Super Bowl halftime. This one will be probably forgotten.
Yeah, that's fair. It was fine, right? Like Usher he can dance like a crazy person.
Yeah.
Rips his shirt off. People were liking that.
We had over-under on remaining abs for Usher.
He's still got 8, right?
No, I would say like he could
He has at
probably
least
do a
6.
much better plank than I could. I'm willing to, but he's lost the definition with age.
He is 45.
I mean, we have him on the screen on YouTube.
yeah.
How many
how
are
are
there?
we
I would
Count
say
'em.
there's 4. You could turn it
Yeah.
to you if you'd like. Hunter just had that ready, which concerns me, but
Hey, I'm just a good producer, okay? I'm going to count 4.
Just give him a little ear scratch.
you're a weirdo. Okay.
But no, the one thing that really sticks with me was we were all watching, the commercials. We love them.
Yeah.
Some good commercials, some bad ones. One that stuck with me was the drumstick commercials. And the first thing that they said as we watched it, the group was just, "That's a terrible airline food." Drumsticks.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, like,
I fully agree.
keeping them refrigerated, sure, but it's an ice cream cone that's completely sealed.
But ice cream on a plane is a bad idea. And they kind of fall apart a little bit when you get to the cone portion of a drumstick.
Maybe it's just because I have a gargantuan mouth, but I do not have that problem.
You're giving me layup after layup here, and I'm just not taking the bait. I'm very proud of my restraint today. But
Have you ever measured the volume of your mouth?
What?
I'm assuming you have.
This
You're asking the
past summer,
question.
a couple of my friends, we were hanging out, and they were like, "Alex, your mouth is really big," because I have a big mouth. And yeah,
Define the volume.
so we filled our mouths with water and then spit it into a measuring cup to see how much.
That's actually really clever.
Yeah.
Well, how else do you think they would do that, Strouf?
I'm going to be honest with you. Mentally, I was thinking tape measure in the mouth. That's where my head was.
God, you're an idiot.
I mean, yes, I am. But my head had like gag reflexing on a tape measure.
No gag reflex.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, so I imagine yours was larger than everybody else's.
Yes, it was notably large. Like I can fit over 2/3 a cup of water in my mouth, which I know with no context you don't know what that is. But the other two people were both under 1/3. So
Wow. Powerful. Indeed. Shout out Tori Lowe, my friend from Green Bay game day during the Green Bay football season.
Did you have a favorite commercial?
Yeah. It was Duncan. It was Duncan.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say that stupid repetitive one that looked like it was made on like online, like on a YouTube, like AI, like make a general commercial.
It certainly replaces Burger King as the most repetitive, annoying, and catchy jingle in television. Ooh, ooh, Temu.
But the thing that I loved about
so
Burger
stuck
King,
in my head.
Burger King's a bit. This Temu thing is not.
No, it's real. Like
It's-
that was actually their marketing strategy. Which also marketing strategy. You and I discussed this off the air, but I don't understand less social media, more Snapchat.
Snapchat doesn't have to be a social media.
It
I
is
love this.
absolutely a social
What do
media.
you do on social media?
You scroll and view other people's livelihoods, which is exactly what you do on Snapchat.
No, it is not. Snapchat is direct communication with a small group. It is exactly the same as texting. You just get to use pictures.
Yes, but there's also stories,
Yeah,
right?
and-
Which makes it more social media, right? Like, so I can post something to everybody I have on Snapchat, which I did not do yet. Oh, yeah, I take that back. I did do that yesterday. I'll get to that in a second. But it's social media, right? So, like, I didn't like the marketing campaign. I tweeted it out, and many people agreed with me that this was like one of the dumber marketing campaigns since Less Water, More H2O. Our friend Maddie tweeted or Up with H2O, whatever it's called.
I don't remember that one.
So yeah, I would say that was dumb. I really enjoyed the Duncan commercial with Ben Affleck and Tom Brady and Jack Harlow and Jennifer Lopez, not Aniston. She was in a different commercial.
Was Tom Brady the most included person through the Super Bowl commercials? Because he was in like six.
He had to be up there, if not number one. Yeah, he was in a lot. So I didn't pay as much of attention to the commercials just because that was kind of chit-chat time or bathroom time or whatever.
Well, you were at a bar.
I was.
And so, like, I feel like at the bar, it is much more of an energy of the game than the goofiness of the commercials.
But there was some, like, you could tell everybody was locked in the Duncan commercial. And that's, I think, maybe why it stuck out above the rest for me. But that was really good. I had already seen this one in advance. I think we talked about it on Friday Hunter. The Paramount Plus commercial with Creed.
So good.
Dude, it was so funny. And they shortened it up, but the full-length version, which has been circulating around social media, not Snapchat apparently, over the course of the last couple of weeks, was really good. And you guys know me. I love me some Creed. I love Higher by Creed. I think it's one of the all-time great songs, and I'm not even saying that as a bit.
It is one of those songs that everybody knows. So I can see
higher to a place where blind men see.
He just like
he's
milking every vowel in such a weird way. I mean,
yeah. So that was good. Overall, by the way, the game was really good.
Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. The first half,
first half was slow burn, and then Lil Jon is on the shoulders of multiple men in the crowd of his own halftime show, and that is when the tone was set, right? Like that was the defining moment of the Super Bowl, in my opinion, was when Lil Jon was crowd surfing and saying, "Turn down for what?"
Dude. I think that. I will listen to that argument. I thought it was a mid-halftime show, and it might have been the turning point for the Kansas City Chiefs.
I think, like, legitimately, because at that point of the halftime show also, I was like, this is fine. You know, like, to your point, the background dancers and some of the acrobatics going on in the background were cool. But then when Lil Jon set the tone, and then we got a terrific second half in overtime, I mentioned two things that I want to get your reaction to, and then I have a Packers-related question for you. But with Mahomes, like, you know he's inevitable, and he just furthered that conversation last night, and I thought he was awesome in the second half. I thought Brock Purdy was very impressive, especially in the first half. He made some throws where I said to myself, that is a legitimately elite quarterback throw. I'm not calling Brock Purdy an elite quarterback, but he's a franchise quarterback, and I'm done having discussions of if he's just a system quarterback. He's too good. He's too good to be a system quarterback. He can make some throws off script. That impressed me. He did it last night on the biggest stage. So Mahomes, Purdy, two of the best quarterbacks right now. Purdy's obviously significantly further down the list than Mahomes.
Purdy missed two throws that would have been game changers too. And
it's true. Hold him accountable. You're right.
And their first and only touchdown.
They had two
touches. Well, that first touchdown he wasn't included in, right? They had to gadget it, and that's because both defenses were absolutely electric. But yeah, I mean, I think that you look at this loss to the 49ers and you feel a lot better about where the 49ers are at than you did to the last one where it was like, oh, Jimmy Garoppolo's not it.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that.
Great pocket awareness too. Like, I mean, he was just maneuvering, flying around through there. He's good. He's super good.
Yeah. So, the blocked extra point is why he got thrown off because of the way I'm looking at the box score. It said 6 in the fourth quarter, but that Jawan Jennings touchdown, his receiving touchdown.
Yes.
He was awesome, too.
He would have won MVP. Well, it was...
He would have.
I think, yeah.
Either him or McCaffrey, maybe?
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. There's nobody... So, we know that NFL players are superhumans.
We do.
My friends who don't watch a lot of games were just watching. It's like, oh, my... What? His knees, and like, because he gives all the energy, he gives all of his effort.
McCaffrey,
100%. Yes, McCaffrey, just pounding the ground, going, and like, oh man, I think he's the most. He might be the most coordinated human being on earth. Because there's also this like top catch he has to make on a shovel pass.
Don't get me wrong. He is obviously in the 1% of 1% in terms of athletic human beings.
Yes,
the most athletic human being on the planet.
Coordinated.
Most coordinated.
I think that he has better body control than anybody else I've
just
ever
feel like
seen.
Soccer requires more coordination.
But that's just because you suck at it.
Well, that seemed unnecessary.
Wow, that's mean.
I think that you think that
you're lashing out.
You think you could play in the NFL as a quarterback
No,
and win
relax.
6 games.
Yeah, if you plugged me into the San Francisco 49ers offense, I could probably win 4 games.
I first off still think that is a ridiculous, outlandish take.
I'm not making
but
some
I
of
think,
the throws that Purdy make, and if I'm in the Super Bowl, right, like I'm losing first off, but second off, I'm not throwing the ball 39 times.
I think if we plug you in the NFL at any given position, your team has a better chance to win than if we plug you in at soccer at any given position in the Premier League.
I would agree.
And that's
I would
not,
agree.
and I don't think it's because soccer is inherently a harder sport. I think it is because you are worse at soccer.
Ooh.
You've not watched it. You're not a big fan. You haven't played a lot. I know you played varsity, but like
I did.
You
I started
lost
on
a
varsity.
bet and ended up on varsity. I mean, like,
that's an accurate statement.
I think that there's a level of coordination you need with your feet, but I think that Christian McCaffrey could be fine if he gave all of his time to soccer.
All right, fair. It's an interesting take. I'm not going to trash it. I still think you lashed out at me and you owe me an apology, but it's beside the point.
No, I owe you $90. I can't.
Also that.
Yeah,
also that.
My Venmo got froze with all of the teammates' money in it, so like I don't know what to do.
He stole
taking
their
it.
money.
He's taking
I
it.
want to pay you. I do.
I don't think you do.
I mean,
You were
I've
1
got
point
cash.
short.
I'll bring. Oh yeah, I was, but I also lost the tiebreaker to Dooley.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so just a quick Packers question for you, and then we'll get you out of here. We have an exciting announcement to make with our friends from Lake Louie and the Badger Club coming up next. But first, how far away do you think the Packers are after watching that game? Because I think they're a hell of a lot closer than I thought going into that game.
No. I think the defenses were way too good. I think the Packers' defense is further away. Their offense is on par. I think if they can bring back the same level of intensity and execution that they had down the stretch to this next season, I'm all about it. I think the Packers' offense can hang in there with just about anybody. I think the Packers' defense, specifically linebacker and safety position, is too far off. Unless they nail the draft and free agency, I don't think that they're right there.
Yeah.
I think they're a contender in the NFC, but I don't think they're right there.
Now let's keep in mind too with Jeff Hafley coming in as defensive coordinator, they're looking different. They're going to look different schematically, defensively. So I'm intrigued to see if, and I talked about this a little bit on Friday with Wilde. I'm intrigued to see what they do in free agency because they could have a lot of money, right? Like $80 million or something in terms of cap space they could free up, which they're intending on doing. So you can make some big swings in free agency if you want to. Now, Goody hasn't really done that in his tenure as GM, right? Like Zadarius, Preston, and Amos, I think that was 2019 he brought those guys in. That was viewed as his best free agency class. But at the time, those weren't huge swings, right? Like Preston Smith was coming from Washington. He had been fine. He took a next step in Green Bay.
He was a great run defender there.
Yes.
Like, that was the thing. We had somebody who could set the edge, which we never had.
Correct. You're totally right about that. And Zadarius, I mean, he made a Defensive Player of the Year campaign his first year in Green Bay. And Amos was a reliable safety, which the Packers obviously truly lacked here in 2023. So I'm curious to see what they do in those positions, and then if it's free agency, if it's draft, if it's both. Like that's what I'm trying to figure out is how do they attack it. But I think with a swing or two at free agency, and then allotting those positions that you mentioned in the draft early on, make it an early priority. This is a team that could legitimately be the favorite in the NFC. And San Francisco has that title until proven otherwise.
Yeah. But
Green Bay could be right there. And they proved just a couple of weeks ago they are right there with San Francisco.
What blows my mind is I got a Bleacher Report notification on my drive home from the Super Bowl party. Currently sitting on Bleacher Report, I don't know where it is everywhere, San Francisco is a favorite to win the Super Bowl next year.
I believe that. They don't have a dramatic free agency class. I overestimated.
And Brock Purdy doesn't have to get paid. So, there's two things that I think I want to end on here.
Yes.
First and foremost, if the Packers are going to be a Super Bowl team, right, how are they going to stop Pat Mahomes? What does the Green Bay Packer defense have that can be the difference maker compared to the 49ers in this past game?
Yeah, so look, I know you and I will talk about this probably more on Green Bay Every Day, which, again, you can find wherever you get your podcast. Just look up Green and Gold Fix as the podcast feed. That lives in Monday through Friday. I don't want to view December 3rd as the same Chiefs team that played last night, right? Like, February Chiefs are very different than early December, late November Chiefs. It's a different team.
It's crazy.
Right? Mahomes turns it on. Travis Kelce turns it on to another level when January rolls around. It's a different team. The issue with playing Patrick Mahomes is there isn't an answer. There is not an answer.
Right.
He'll beat you with his legs. He did it to San Francisco last night.
63 rushing yards.
66, I thought.
66? Okay, yeah. He was the leader on the team.
Yeah, he was. And look, I mean, he is just so unbelievable. He is the most talented quarterback I've ever seen. I'm not going to call him the GOAT because I think winning matters, and Brady did that better than everybody, and he solidified his case as the greatest of all time if he hadn't already with 6 Super Bowl wins when he went elsewhere and won another one. Brady knew his role better than anybody else. That's what makes him the greatest. But when it comes to just pure talent and the intangibles and having the ability to make plays, nobody is better than Patrick Mahomes. I'm not hearing an argument for it anymore, right? Like, as much as I love Aaron Rodgers and love watching Aaron Rodgers play football, Mahomes is better.
Yep.
As much as I loved Peyton Manning, probably one of my favorite quarterbacks of all time.
Did you see?
He's better than him.
Did you see in the post game they interviewed MVS and outright asked him who's better? MVS didn't give an answer.
Rodgers or Mahomes?
Yep.
Interesting. I get why he wouldn't, but I'm not going to do it anymore. As much as I think Rodgers is an unheard of talent, and I hope he gets back to that level.
Yeah.
Because I feel bad for him, right? Like, you lose an entire season. That would have been a really fun storyline to keep an eye on. It would have been a really fun team in the AFC. They would have probably been a playoff team with Aaron Rodgers leading the charge. I hope he gets back to that level, and I hope he comes out next year and he's as good as he's ever been, because he's so damn fun to watch, right? He is a magician of sorts too, but he is not Mahomes. Nobody is Patrick Mahomes. Unbelievable last night.
All right, my last thought,
yes,
and this is just why I think that the 49ers are way overblown. Super Bowl hangover, it is, sometimes it's real, sometimes it's not.
It is.
Watching Kyle Shanahan's face throughout the night. He never once showed emotion. He knew what was going to happen. It really felt like he didn't believe he was ever going to win that game. And when they lost, his facial expression didn't change. I think
you're right about that.
I think he might be broken. And there's no reason for me to believe that. But every time something good happened, he just stayed straight faced. And everyone in the room thought it was weird. Every time they panned to him and they thought it was weird, he looked weird.
Yeah.
And there's this feeling inside of me, and I have no factual evidence to back this up. I think Kyle Shanahan's broken.
Well,
I think it's a take.
He's been to 3 Super Bowls
as a coordinator or head coach, right?
Yep. And he's blown a double-digit lead in all 3. He also blew a double-digit lead to the Rams in the NFC Championship game.
Yep.
Dude cannot coach if he gets a double-digit lead.
That's interesting.
I mean, 4 times now.
Hold on.
That's enough.
That's kind of a blanket
that's
statement.
Enough data.
But that's kind of a blanket statement.
That's enough data, Strouf.
But you're not.
It's enough.
You know what? I'll lay off. G, thank you. Looking forward to Green Bay every day. We'll do it in a little bit.
Rock and roll.
He's the best. Alex Gravatt on Twitter at Alex Gravatt, Gravatt. Appreciate him popping by to do a little Super Bowl debrief, Super Bowl unpacking with me here on Mr. Irrelevant. Appreciate all of you being with me as well. It is time for something I'm very excited to unveil. We've been talking about it for a couple of weeks. We have been hyping it up for a couple of weeks. I'm so excited about our new partnership with Lake Louie Brewing in Verona and the delicious Badger Club Amber Lager. Had a couple of those yesterday. Boy, are they tasty. 5.5% ABV, just like terrific with a burger. Terrific with a burger. And we are proud to introduce to you the first ever Mr. Irrelevant Lake Louie Badger Club Burger Bracket, as we are on a mission. We are blazing a trail in order to find the best burger in Madison. 63 local restaurants enter. One will prevail. You can vote every single day, beginning with immediately after the show today on Twitter at ESPN Madison. We are going to get down to one, the best burger in Madison. Let's look at some of the regions. We start with the Canton, Ohio region of the best burger bracket. You see the 16 restaurants up on the screen from all over the Madison area, including Madison's, Tanner's, Liberty Station, Deluxe, known for their burgers, Boneyard and Patty's, Mount Vernon Tap, Villa Tap, Tootsie's, Ope House Pub and Grill, and a bunch of others, Players, Buck and Honey's in Wanakee. That is the Canton, Ohio region. Now, Hunter, you name these regions. This is all you. We've named all 4 regions. What is the burger history of Canton, Ohio? Do they claim they came up with the burger?
There's a number of places that claim to have come up with or been the site of the first burger. The Canton, Ohio region I used because in the Erie County Fair which Canton is in Erie County, Ohio.
Okay.
There was a sandwich stand, and this was in 1885. They were selling ground beef sandwiches.
Wow, look at this research.
Which also then ties us into our Hamburg region.
Yeah, Hamburg, Germany.
And Hamburg, New York.
Oh, okay.
Because the two people selling those ground beef sandwiches were from Hamburg, New York.
Well, let's take a look at the Hamburg region. We'll let you use your imagination if it's New York or Germany, or is it both? Who knows? In Wanakee, how about Wannabull? I've had a burger there before. McFarland Tavern on there. How about Wilson's? I was just there the other week on Atwood over on the east side of Madison. Red Rock, Monk's Bar and Grill in Sun Prairie. I've had several burgers there. I used to live right behind there. Fun fact. Stamhouse, Aces on Main, Argus, Golden Eagle, Deeks and Stoughton. I've had a burger there before. So I like Deeks a lot. Good patio out there in good old town of Stoughton. Also in the same region, look at that. Deeks goes up against the Stoughton VFW Vikings. You paying attention to the Hamburg region at all? Hooterville and Curly's Pub and Grub, and a couple others on there that I didn't mention. In the Hamburg region of our Badger Club burger bracket. On to the Wisconsin city that represents a region. How about Seymour getting some love? The Silver Eagle in there out in Monona. Buck and Honey's in Monona as well on there. Tipsy Cow and Sun Prairie. Club Lamarck. I have had a burger at all four of those places. I loved going through some of the pubs and the bars and the restaurants that are a part of this and being like, wow, I've lived here 3 years. I think I've had burgers at like 30 of these places already. So like I've got some good knowledge. I'm the right man for this job.
We're going to have to fill it out too.
Yeah, we are going to. You're right. Absolutely right. Nora's headquarters have a burger there as well. Aaron Snug, I've had burgers there. The Shack Bar and Grill, Stone Porch, 1855 Saloon and Grill. Mr. Brews in Wanakee, I've had a burger there. Side Door Grill and Tap, Horseshoe Bar, among some of them here in the Seymour region. Now, you see it on the screen, but if you're listening on the audio side, all of these regions were randomly assigned. We put it in a random generator. That's how we got here. So, right, like Silver Eagle and Bucket Honey's Monona, both Monona establishments, just happen to be in the same bracket.
Yep.
All right, one more region to take a look at. That is the St. Louis region. I hear they had a Mardi Gras party there over the weekend. Our buddy Colin Russo was there. We might have to unpack that with him at some point down the road. What's the burger history in St. Louis, Hunter?
1904, Fletcher Davis had a sandwich stand at the St. Louis World's Fair and sold a ground beef sandwich there as well.
Okay. So in the St. Louis region, you see BBG's out in Stoughton on there, Red Mouse, Pit Stop Pub, Muska Lounge, and Sporting Club. Those four in the St. Louis region will be our first poll posted immediately after the show today. Those four, Red Mouse, BBG's in Stoughton, Pit Stop Pub, and Muska Lounge in Madison will be our first four to vote on immediately after the show. Mr. Brews in Monona, Tipsy Cow downtown, Rookies on there as well. Mr. Brews on the west side, State Street Brats, a Madison institution. I've heard that Vegas called me. State Street Brats is high on the odds list. One of the favorites. We'll see if it comes to fruition according to Vegas. Monk's Bar and Grill in Middleton. Did I mention them already? I was just out there not too long ago. A couple months ago, I had a burger out there. Village Green. Our boy, the Dean, Dennis Semrau. That's his favorite to win. Village Green. Yeah, something to keep an eye on. All right, so there you go. Once again, your first four that you can vote on momentarily on the ESPN Madison Twitter. BBG's, Muska Lounge all in there as well from the St. Louis region. The other two bars that will be in that poll, Red Mouse and Cross Plains, and Pit Stop Pub in Sun Prairie, your first group of four. We will do this all the way up until the weekend of Selection Sunday in the real tournament. Our tournament runs until then. Go ahead, Hunter.
Now, some may be wondering what happens after we get through the group stage. Had to pull, because of the numbers, had to pull a little bit from the World Cup with that. We do have then a traditional bracket,
yes,
which you can see.
So it's empty right now, obviously. But we will have, what does it come out to, 6 in each? Or no, 4 in each. 4 in each.
To go to the 16. Savory 16.
Oh! And then it's the enticing 8.
Yes.
Down to the flavor 4. And then we will have a championship matchup after that. That will be the Friday before Selection Sunday in the real tournament. So there you go. The Mr. Irrelevant Lake Louie Badger Club Burger Bracket is here, and you can vote on that every single day on Twitter at ESPN Madison as we determine the best burger in Madison. And actually, during the week of the tournament, Hunter, I will be out at the winning location to do Mr. Irrelevant and talk a little college hoops. So I'm looking forward to that. This is a really fun project that we've been working on for a couple of months. So really excited to team up with Badger Club and get this thing rolling. But it's up to you. You get to decide who has the best burger in Madison. You just saw the 63 names of the locations in the Madison area that are participating in this thing. Go get a burger. Go get a Badger Club. Participate with us. Vote along. Stop at some new places. Maybe you haven't been to Pit Stop Pub or BBG's in Stoughton. Maybe you need to get out there. Have a Badger Club, have a burger. Let me know how it is. Tweet me your pictures, or yeah, let's do that. If you get out to one of these places, take a picture, have a Badger Club, send it to me on Twitter at Alex_Strouf. We'll show it on the show if you do that. If you get out to one of these locations, you have a Badger Club and a burger, tweet me a picture. We're giving you a shout out on the show from now on. Ever. I mean ever. And then once we ultimately crown a winner, when you inevitably, because if you're like me and love a good burger, find out that this place has the best burger in Madison according to Mr. Irrelevant, and the fans of Mr. Relevant, you're going to get out there and have a burger? Tweet me a picture at Alex_Strouf. All right, I got to be honest with you, Hunter. I didn't learn much this weekend, to be real honest with you. I learned that there's new overtime rules, and I don't like them, but I already talked about that. I learned that Alicia Keys is still a stunner, and she is an incredible performer. I learned that Little John literally changed the outcome of the Super Bowl, as we already talked about. But I didn't learn much beside that. I am not an athlete, though, which we already knew. That was solidified over the course of this weekend. I went golfing on a simulator out in Manitowoc, statewide tour this weekend. Milwaukee, Manitowoc, Green Bay, Madison. I was all over the place. Golfed in Manitowoc with two of my buddies from college. Would you like to guess my score? Have you already heard me say it?
I haven't. So this was a full 18?
This is 18, yes.
Okay. And it's on a simulator, but you're terrible.
I'll give you a hint. I was over par. So you can just guess how many strokes over par I was.
I was assuming you were over par.
No, not under par, unfortunately.
I'm going to say over par 25.
Double it. Plus 50. 50 over par was my
50
final.
stroke on a simulator.
Holes. On a simulator through 18 holes.
You were trying to be bad.
No, I'm just that bad at golf. I'm that bad at golf. 50
Strouf.
Over par is what I finished on the simulator. So I didn't learn this because I already knew this about myself. But I confirmed I am not an athlete. I'm going to work on it, though. I'm going to work on it. This summer, I'm going to get out on the links a little bit more, maybe get a little bit better, and we'll see if I can improve that. But 50 over, yeah, super embarrassing, super bad. But it happens. Not every day is your best day. I learned that. Yesterday was not my best day. Though I had a great time watching the Super Bowl, hanging out with my buddy Kyle, and you know, having a few Badger Clubs. It's a great day. All right, that does it for us today. Thanks to Alex Gravatt for popping on, unpacking the Super Bowl with me a little bit. Appreciate all of you chiming in on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, listening on the audio side. Make sure you rate it 5 stars. Give it a thumbs up on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the ESPN Madison YouTube channel. Click that bell so you get notified every time we go live, which is Monday, Wednesday. No Friday show this week, but typically Fridays as well at 12:30. I'm taking a little post-football season relaxation session. I'm not going anywhere, but I'm taking a couple days off at the end of the week. So we'll be back Wednesday, but no Friday show this week. I'm taking Thursday, Friday off, taking a long weekend. And then we'll be back in full go beginning Monday of next week as we transition. No more football to talk about. Football is over until training camp in July. You get a little rookie OTAs in May and June to overreact to, but no real football until training camp in July, which makes me very sad.
But I am a huge draft nerd, so...
Well, we'll still talk draft.
Yeah, so it's still football.
Well, dude, if we didn't talk football, we would be employed, right? Like,
yeah, true.
Football makes the world go round. So we'll talk Packers every show.
I know. I wanted to make sure that we were going to talk about the draft. Yeah, I'm really excited. I love the draft.
We'll get into it probably in a week or two, right? Free agency's coming up in the middle of March, so we'll keep an eye on that as well. But yeah, we could get into the draft a little bit. Let's get Mel Kiper on the show in the next couple of weeks.
Yes.
Let's work on that. Let's figure out what the avenue is, because he is the all-time greatest draft analyst, and would love to have him on the show. So let's work on that. I'm putting it out there so we can actually make it happen. I feel like if we talk off the air about potential guests, neither of us hold each other accountable. So this is me holding us accountable. Mel Kiper, let's get him on the show. Anyway, that does it for us today. Appreciate you hanging out with us. We're back with you Wednesday beginning at 12:30. Big thanks to Hunter Vaughn, Tiny Hands, as always, for running the show. I'm Alex Strouf. We'll talk to you Wednesday. It's Mr. Irrelevant. Peace.